There you go. It's part three. You already did it. Okay. I wasn't paying attention. Yes, I have the perpetual ghost story. Cut out the lights? Hold on. I don't think it's gonna be that deep.
You got a ghost on the screen. Oh yes.
That's been there for the past 3 weeks, though. Yeah.
I thought it was a blowing. I'm gonna get the end.
The wind, that's at the end.
Yes. Okay, that's the question.
All right, so I guess I got to tell y'all this story. Huh? For what I could gather, most of you already heard it. Besides people who ain't been here for at least 3 years. All right. You ain't heard it. The year was 2008.
Woo! Way back, young.
I mean, do y'all want me to tell y'all the story? Y'all gonna sit here
Like 8 years old.
talk about my age.
That was the first iPhone.
Right before my birthday. But we got to go back a little further than that. But
1900.
that is crazy. But hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go through all this stuff first. Y'all vexing my ruach today. Okay. I want to take this time to explain that this lesson and the lessons thereafter are not based on any one individual, whether in this assembly, locally, or abroad. These lessons were not developed by myself alone. Yes, the Father has something, if not all, to do with them. If these lessons hit certain points that you feel or believe has something to do with you, all praise to the Father. Take that knowledge and apply the solution to your life. Do not take anything personal and miss the message that is being given to help solidify your salvation. Watch and listen to gain the understanding you need while on this journey. Okay? Yeah, you take it personally if you want to, but, I should say be offended. You shouldn't be offended. All right? You should take it personal, but don't be offended. All right? Rules for all lessons. Please keep your mic muted except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. There is a feature on Zoom in the meeting room where you can raise your hand if you have a question or a statement. Also, here in the assembly, if you have a question or a statement, raise your hand and speak into the mic for everyone to hear. All questions, answers, and statements must be on the topic. And for the past 2 weeks, all questions, answers, and statements must be on the topic, y'all. Okay? You can only answer one time per question or statement. Yes, you have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. If you pass your 60-second window, your mic will be muted for you. For those that are in the room, you also have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. There are mics that will be passed around that can be used to ask or answer those questions. All statements in the room must be limited to 20 seconds. The microphones can be used to share with others that may not hear you online. Oh, is that what you were saying? The microphones will be used to share with others that may not hear you online. I don't like this. This will be mixed with discussions to help build one another. Please do not abuse the time. And for the last time until December, Maury Kanan's rule for the lessons. I will ask a question and I will need only 4 people to answer. 2 from online, 2 from in the assembly. After that, we will move on. Okay? Y'all remember them questions I said we were supposed to be answering? I made a change to one of them because it kind of, after we had a little discussion, it kind of fit. But we got through this one. All right, is the Father's Ruach in you? Most of y'all said yes. Some of you didn't answer. It's okay. That was a non-answer is an answer, huh? Do you hear from the Father? All right, dealing with your soul. That was kind of heavy. I saw some eyes had some tears in them. It's okay. Now, what I ask is, how can an evil ruach be in you? We need to change that. Okay, per our conversation, it should be, how can an evil ruach corrupt you? But we ain't talking about that today. No, we're not gonna talk about that today. We'll start that when I take over one of my more Yasharon's lessons in December, and then we'll pick it back up in January. But for today, how important is it to walk in the Ruach? Is it ver? All right, back to the story. Do y'all see something? Yeah. You don't? Huh? This was 2008. Okay, somebody get the mic and tell me, what do you see? All right, go ahead, Caleb. And where? Where in the picture do you see it? Caleb.
So yeah, I see a three-eyed thing in the middle.
A three-eyed thing.
The house.
It got 3 eyes?
I see 3 eyes and some lips, no nose.
3 eyes, some lips, and no nose.
I'm gonna need you to scoot up a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I see a figure on the top of the roof.
You see something on top of the roof?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Okay. Uh-huh. Nanamana?
Shalom, Mari. I see there is something in the window
Yeah. There is.
upstairs, the corner one upstairs in the window, and the light
Let me just
reflection
preface this. There's a lot of stuff around in here, but there's something in particular that
in
should
the
be
window.
sticking out. I need one more phone. I need one more online. We already got 2 out here. If y'all yield your sales online, I'll let the rabbi go. All right, go ahead.
I see golden leaves.
Oh my God. You could have kept that. You could have.
It's in the middle of the picture. It's the only thing that stands out.
We're moving on. All right. Well, I don't know what Caleb was talking about though. Let me see the mouse. Okay. Is it black smudge? Caleb talking about his 3 eyes. Them is 2 eyes. It didn't know. And then they got something around his neck. Do you know? Can you imagine what that is? You can't see that? You don't look like no noose? You don't see my man's hands behind his back?
They're seeing a big clown face, not
Right. You're not actually looking at what this picture is.
what they see.
You should outline it. Got this little outline right here.
Yeah.
I think Mari, it looks like a hanging.
Yes. That's exactly what it is, not mine. Yes. Somebody's being hanged right here. Yes. All of this. Look at my man's face right here. It's a big old rope around my man's neck, and he has his hands tied behind his back. You're young. It's okay. So this is how the situation started. Okay. This was before 2008. What? Or was it the same year? Yeah. I don't know, but I see him. You talking about right here? Yeah. I don't know. She got it on camera. So my Isha took this picture while she was in the car. So she was a passenger. She wasn't driving, taking the picture. She was a passenger, and she just decided, because we had just got this camera because we were preparing for TJ's birth. So she wanted to see how good it worked. So she took that picture. Didn't see it at the time. Didn't see it until she got home. Now, the house. This is Andrew Jackson Jr.'s house. This is Andrew Jackson's nephew's house. If she would have took a wider shot, you would have seen to the left side, you would have seen a slave shack. It was still back there. In the back of that, it's an actual field, where they put the big power lines. that go throughout the whole town. You know, you got to have a certain amount of land that's vacant for it. So all that is back there. Okay, so keep that in mind. So how this happened? Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. Got shut down. Yeah, shut down.
More, you know what? There's also a 666 in there.
Where you see that at?
Can I get the drawer here? You don't see it, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to draw it. Hold on.
Annotates as being disabled. Is this?
Oh, okay. So, at the bottom, then we know in the red circle, there's a 6, but it's slanted in the branch. And if you look a little bit up in that in the fire looking thing, there's a 6 in there, and on the branch above it, there's a 6 as well.
All right.
You see them?
Nah, I might have to.
Okay, I'll show you. I'll take a picture or something and show you.
All right.
All right.
So, stop. Lived in this apartment complex called Nashboro Village. Okay. A lot of strange things were happening in that part. And keep in mind, I was still in Christianity. Okay. By the time Candace got pregnant, in the room that we were in, she kept seeing apparitions, and they were scaring us. So, you know, I figured, you know, we supposed to be able to cast down demons and stuff. So I'm in there, you know, with the Bible in my hand, doing all that stuff. It ain't work. Yeah, no, ain't none of that work. Ain't none of that work. So I was telling some co-workers about this, and these just happened to be real life witch and a real life warlock. So yeah, this is their job. They love this stuff. So I told them, look, well, y'all need to come on over and see what's going on. So they went to this house. I was in the church. They went to the house and a lot of stuff started coming up in the house. I said, that's cool. But I said, hey, they say, well, what's behind the house? I said, I ain't never been back there. So went behind the house, and the lady took a picture of the field, and she says, if the picture comes back with a lot of smoke, then there's graves back there. Lo and behold, the picture came back, and it was full of smoke. So I said, okay, so that means that all them slaves are still back there. Fast forward to July, day of my birthday. Yeah, I know how I do with barbecue, right? So I'm cleaning out the grill, and all the ash and stuff, I have to take it to the dumpster. The dumpster is right next to that field. So I don't know why I was walking slow, but I was listening to music, and I was wondering, like, man, that music is really, really loud. And this is Saturday, and I was like, okay, the music is loud, but why is it gospel music? No, it ain't Sunday. And then I was like, not only does it sound like gospel music, they sound like old Negro spirituals. I was like, well, I ain't never heard no station in Tennessee that played no old Negro spirituals. So I just stood there for a minute and just listened to it, but it kept going in and out. And then I heard what sounded like commercials. I was like, well, these are weird commercials. They just talking to each other. And then all of a sudden, two of the voices said, why is he standing there? I said, huh. And they kept saying, well, I don't know. He can't see us, can he? And I said, huh. And while they were talking, I heard some galloping. And the galloping got really, really loud. And then all of a sudden I heard this man say, why do you stop working? They said, well, we don't know, sir. I think he can see us. I said, I know that's not no slave master asking the slaves why they looking at me and why they stopped working. So I listened for a little while. He said, I don't care what he's doing. You need to get back to work. And then he drove off, or he rode off. And at that moment, you know, yeah. You know the color of my skin. I was gone. But I don't know why that happened or what the significance of that is. That's the whole story. I heard people in the field picking cotton, and they saw me, and the overseer got mad. It's basically what happened in that story. But it's a whole to do with that whole entire area. When you do the history on there, they'll tell you that Andrew Jackson only had 4,500 acres. No, he didn't. he had way more than that. I say at least 100,000. He owned half of that between him and Vanderbilt. But that's the story. Okay, I had to keep it brief because I don't want to turn it into you who can say a story. Yes, not a model.
Maury, there's something in that upstairs window. I see it.
Yeah.
It's not a curtain.
Yeah. There's all kind of anomalies in there. Oh, I see it. Okay, that's what he was talking about. Okay. All right. They ain't got nothing to do with the lesson. I tell you that it has nothing to do with the lesson. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Okay. Little spooky. Should have turned out the lights. That happened years ago. It's a long time. All right. Yeah. You need discernment. Okay. This is a big factor. It's a big factor as to why some of y'all got stuff messing with you, because you have no discernment in the situations that you are dealing with. And you don't think these adversaries know that? The whole point of the adversaries is steal, kill, and destroy, right? So it has to find your weakness. If you don't know how to combat that weakness, this is where your trouble starts. I should have asked what is discernment, but that's okay. The quality of being able to grasp and comprehend what is obscure. You have a skill in discernment, okay? Now you have discernment, discrimination, perception, penetrate. Okay, somebody want to, all right. Ms. Judavon, can you please not write on that? Can you erase it? I'm looking at you, sir. Oh, yeah, we're gonna need to have this taken off. Escapee? Okay. Where's the on here? Oh, side right here. Okay. Bam. Okay. Did you do that? High floating controls. You have penetration, insight, acumen, and all of these mean a power to see what is not evident to the average mind. Okay? So when you talk about discernment, it stresses accuracy, as in reading character or motives or appreciating art. Okay? Discrimination stresses the power to distinguish and select what is true or appropriate or excellent. Perception implies quick and often sympathetic. Okay? Discernment as of shades of feelings. You talk about penetration, it implies a searching mind that goes beyond what is obvious or superficial. Insight suggests depth of discernment coupled with understanding, sympathy. Right? And acumen means characteristic of penetration combined with keen practical judgment. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, having some common sense with good judgment. That's everybody, right? Ooh, wow. What are the characteristics of discerning people? 2 in the room, 2 online. Somebody give me some characteristics. All right, we got the 2 we got 2 in the room. Go ahead.
They have acumen.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead.
It always depends on the rabbi.
So discernment, at least from the Hebrew perspective, is the Hebrew word
Man, don't.
matam.
Hey, how about we not going to that?
Oh, Okay, so I'll just say this. Discernment deals with understanding. So there are parts of discernment. There are two parts of discernment. One is a discernment that you get from the root rock, and there's another discernment that you get with.
He can't help himself.
Oh, okay. I yield.
Man, what are some characteristics of discerning people? Yeah, that was too wasted. Okay. Y'all try to help us out. Got your mic on?
Yes, someone that will thoroughly investigate something, I guess is a good way to put it, maybe. So they're very thorough in their investigation. I guess that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Nabat, you were next.
Shalom. So I believe discernment has something to do with someone who is very observing and understanding of a matter and searched it out thoroughly.
Okay. I think, okay, so let's be done with, anybody else want to try in the room? Because the first two were kind of, didn't answer the question. Anybody? You want to try? Go ahead. Characteristics now.
They're environmentally aware.
Okay. Be a characteristic. You got one
Kat
more?
Mori, I have one.
Hold on. There's only two in the room and two online. They mess up in the room, so we got to go back to them. We need one more in the room. If not, then I'll let you go. All right, go ahead, Nama.
Kat Mori, the characteristic of a discerning person is that they're very discerning. They're very perceptive in reference to they can make really good decisions. They're very analytical.
Okay.
Very analytical in things.
All right. Just 1 second here. We'll keep on. If it gets too bad, then we'll. Somebody else? That'd be your answer, wouldn't it? Discerning people possess several key characteristics that enable them to exercise sound judgment, make wise decisions, and distinguish between truth and falsehood. Insight and understanding. Discerning individuals have a deep understanding of situations, people, and motives. They look beyond surface appearances to grasp the underlying truths and complexities. Okay? All right. We're gonna have to give us 1 second. Apologize. Give us a second. My bad. I didn't tell y'all what's going on. We having some technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. No, we should be able to just no. But we're not sharing. They need to share again. Huh? Where's share? I know. I was making sure that it was on there. Bring back up this. Okay. All right.
This is how you know the lesson's gonna be good.
Man, I'm telling you. They've been vexing my ruach since we've been here. All right. All right. Let's try this again. It's gonna be some editing going on tonight. All right. Where were we? We were on to wisdom. All right. Wisdom. They demonstrate practical wisdom, often knowing how to apply knowledge effectively in real life situations. This wisdom allows them to navigate complex issues with clarity and foresight. Critical thinking. Discerning people are not easily swayed by emotions or impulsive reactions. They think critically, evaluating information from various perspectives before making decisions. All right, it's gonna start getting a little bit more intense as we go on. Good judgment. They possess the ability to make well-considered decisions, assessing the potential outcomes and risks before acting. I should have put a little line under that. They know when to proceed and when to exercise caution. Okay? Intuition. While they rely on logic, discerning individuals often have a well-developed intuition. This gut feeling, or if you're in the church, it's something told me spirit, helps them sense when something is off or when they are being deceived, even if they can't immediately explain why. So while I was out in that field, hearing all this, I ain't know what was going on. Okay? I still don't. I didn't even ask to give me a reason why. I didn't want nothing part of that. Patience. They are not in a rush to make decisions. Discerning people take time to gather information, reflect, and pray or meditate before coming to conclusions. This patience helps them avoid hasty, regrettable choices. Y'all see where this is going? Humility. Discerning individuals are aware of their limitations and are open to learning from others. They seek counsel and are willing to change their minds when presented with better information. Empathy. They are sensitive to the emotions and needs of others, making them better able to understand different viewpoints and act with compassion and fairness. Okay? All of these stuff you may need to have in your arsenal when you're dealing with stuff.
We just use the gut feeling.
Huh? Yeah. You go straight to the empathy part. You ain't no intuition. A lot of people don't have no patience. Oh my goodness. What about integrity? Discerning people have strong moral principles and are committed to doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Their integrity ensures that their judgments are rooted in honesty and ethical considerations. I told you it was going to get more intense as we kept going. Spiritual sensitivity. If faith-based, if you walking in something now, many discerning people, especially in religions or spiritual contexts, seek divine guidance and are sensitive to spiritual truths. They pray, meditate, or seek divine wisdom to help them see beyond the natural and into the deeper spiritual aspects of life. You got something? I know it.
All right. So a couple of things. All of these characteristics don't contradict when the Spirit takes place as well. So when the Father's Ruach comes in and you have these other characteristics, they work together to achieve the same goal. Because sometimes we could say, the Spirit showed me something, or I have a feeling about something, but you don't have all of the information to verify if that's true or not. So we have to make sure that the Ruach comes and gives you the wisdom that you need to come to a conclusion.
You trying to save time on the lesson? Just jump six slides. Curiosity and open-mindedness. Discerning individuals are open to new ideas and perspectives. but are not gullible. Their curiosity leads them to explore different sides of an issue, but their judgment helps them sort truth from error. All right. A couple of examples. All right. Genesis 41:33. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning. Now, this type of discernment, you have to be understanding, all right, and be able to comprehend meaning. And wise. This type of wise is marked by the exercise of good judgment or common sense and practical matters. All right. So now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Even though this was talking about leadership over a country, what about leadership over your life? For men, what about leadership over your household? In any of these scenarios, you have to be able to display good judgment and some good old common sense. Okay? Is this common? It's not good?
See what I'm saying? I'm talking about his sense and comments.
Genesis 41:37-39. This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this in whom is the Ruach of Elohim? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since Elohim has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you. So you see right there, Joseph gained his discernment from the Ruach, which was able to give him guidance. You see what about the slides? We can just skip because, yeah. Oh, okay. This is the H995.
Bean.
Bean, right? And again, you see it means to understand. You got to see something. And when you see it, you got to pay attention to it. And when you're paying attention to it, you got to consider it. And sometimes you might want to teach it or have it examined. Go ahead. Here we go.
I was going to ask, since it didn't have it on this definition, there's another definition that's very key to this.
Okay.
So being, he's shown here from the Strong's, well, from this lexicon here, understanding, see, pay attention, consider. The other thing where it says examine in other places, it's the same word that means between something. So if I say between, it's the Hebrew word being. So you have to be able to discern between something. So if I'm saying something is wrong, I got to discern, can I say it's wrong? Or I need to have proof that it's wrong. So you have to have a being or an understanding how to do that, because your judgment alone may not cut it. And some people can be right, some people can be wrong, but even if you're right, but how many witnesses does it take in order for that to happen, right? So you still, even if you're right, you still got to have information to support what you're saying. You can't just say that.
So that's why you were saying all those characteristics come together with the Ruach in order to make that common sense, good judgment. All right, I got you. Now there is a need for wisdom too. Isaiah 11:2. And the Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him, the Ruach of wisdom and understanding, the Ruach of counsel. In this context, is something that provides direction or advice as to a decision or course of action. And might, the Ruach of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah. Now, the word here for knowledge is 1847.
Dot.
And again, this is the ability to discern, to have understanding, with the sense of knowing a clear and certain mental apprehension, often with moral dimensions, right? So again, it's that good judgment coupled with common sense, okay? Wisdom, the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment, the quality of being wise. All right, you got the H2451. Yeah.
Chokhmah.
All right, that's what everybody's familiar with, right? Wisdom in a good sense, being skillful or wisely. Oh, it has some wit about you, okay? In the Greek, we have the G3809. Am I gonna give a chat? Because it's right, I'll parse it out for you.
Pedia.
All right. Tutorage, i.e. education or training. By implication, disciplinary correction. The only way I say correction, not action, but chastisement and instruction. or nurture. Now, this is training, all right? Refers to discipline or instruction used to train a person in the way that is right. And this is a noun related to the verb padio, which is to discipline. And in Hebrew, this is the word for musar, okay? All right, so wisdom is not only just having good judgment, but you have to be taught some of these things too, and you have to learn how to take it too. You can try to dish it out, but can you take it? No, can nobody. This is from a long time ago, but the question still stands. What does it mean to walk in the Spirit? I'm trying to see something. One day ago, 6 years ago. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But can I get 2 in the room and 2 online to give me an answer to what does it mean to walk in the Spirit? We've been talking about this for the past 2 lessons. My eye about to start twitching. Online. Please help me. There's Nanamana.
Pastor Omari, what does it mean to walk in the Ruach?
Yes, please.
It means to walk in wisdom, and it means to walk in guidance. It means to walk in knowledge. It means to walk in the word.
Okay. Yalashanda.
Walk in Yahuwah's will.
Okay, all right. Y'all good with that answer? Cause y'all good with that answer. Yeah. But they
Trick question.
it was a trick question. When you walk in the Ruach, okay, Galatians 5:16 and 18. But I say walk, and we all know by now that to walk is your behavior, right? To live we said it last week. To live or behave in a specific manner by the Ruach, and you will not gratify. This means to satisfy, all right? Satisfy, to be perfect, to conceive as if bringing something to completion without defect or blemish, right? So you won't gratify the desires. I know y'all remember this, right? Your evil craving, right? An inordinate, self-indulgent craving that displaces proper affections for the Father. Now, it ain't got nothing to do with no banana pudding, all right? The desires of the flesh, sinful humanity, all right? The physical aspect of a person in distinction to the immaterial soul, often understood as the seat of sin and rebellion to the Father. You're going to see rebellion a couple of times now, all right? For the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. For those are opposed to each other to keep you from doing the things you want to do. So it's a battle. Do you continue to follow your own heart, or do you seek the Father?
Well.
But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. What law are we talking about?
Law of sin.
Okay. So y'all know that, but y'all don't know what it means. Okay, never mind. Let's keep going.
Back to Romans. Let's go back to
Oh my goodness. Galatians 5:22 and 24, boy. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Look at this, gentleness. Look right here, self-control.
That's what I want.
This where we stop at, huh? The trait of resolutely controlling one's own desires, which would produce actions. I put actions in quotations because of what it says here, especially sensual desires. Okay? We ain't talking about eating no pudding.
Well, stop.
Against such things, there is no law. These things won't be condemned or restricted because they reflect the heart of the Father's moral and ethical will. Wow. You will start to reflect some of the Father's character. And we talked about all of this because right now ain't nobody doing nothing with the Father's character right now. You need to start reflecting some of the Father's character, okay? Verse 24, and those who belong to Mashiach Yahushua have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. By following Mashiach, you put to death your old way of living, driven by sinful impulses, and instead live according to the Ruach. That took a lot. This battle doesn't disappear once someone gets into the truth. Instead, you're now equipped to resist the flesh through the power of the Ruach. Remember, the Ruach is there to help and guide you through this journey. That's what you need it for. Because remember, I answered before, are you going to try to do this by yourself, or do you want the Father's help? Help me, please. All right, little summary here. We got 4 of them, okay? Resisting the desires of the flesh. The flesh in this context refers to human nature's sinful tendencies. Walking in the Spirit means rejecting those inclinations and instead pursuing a righteous life according to the Father's standard. And we read that in Galatians 5:16 says, walk by the Spirit and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh, okay? Producing the fruit of the Spirit. When a person walks in the Spirit, their life naturally produces positive Mashiach-like qualities known as the fruit of the Ruach. These are, again, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Guess we kind of missed that for a second. A life led by the Spirit is characterized by these virtues, reflecting spiritual growth and maturity. All right? Following the Father's will and living by faith, walking in the Spirit also means continually seeking the Father's guidance and allowing the set-apart Spirit, or the Ruach, to influence daily decisions. It involves praying for guidance, relying on Scripture, and remaining sensitive to the Spirit's prompting, meaning if you get convicted of something, you need to understand what that is and follow through. Go ahead.
So just like you have on the slide, you got to be mindful that sometimes if you're not careful, you'll do one without the other. Sometimes you will believe we're walking in the Spirit, and we get to a point where you're so spiritual that you're not even looking for the Scripture, or right. You can be going against the Scripture and not know it, and you're saying, this is the Father, this is the Father, this is the Father. I feel the Spirit, and it could be a spirit and not the Spirit.
Travis. Oh. Did I say that out loud, Travis? I'm sorry. No, I was playing with you. I'm playing. No, I ain't playing. Crucifying the flesh with its passion. Y'all really make Travis not want to come on here no more, okay? This means putting to death sinful, is y'all, not me, sinful behaviors, desires, and attitudes through the power of the Spirit, or the Ruach, which enables believers to live in freedom from sin. And again, we read that in 5:24. Those who belong to Yahushua Mashiach have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Okay? So therefore, when we talk about self-control, that wouldn't even be cringe to you, because you're already supposed to be doing that if you're taking on the Mashiach's characteristics. But it is a battle. It is a battle. In summary, walking in the Spirit means living in close communion with the Father, following his lead through the guidance of the set-apart Spirit, and demonstrating Mashiach-like character in every area of life. Remember saying it has to be your whole being, all of you, not just half of you or a quarter. All right, when you don't walk in the Spirit of the Ruach, 5:19-21. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of rage, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like these. Remember, we defined all of that when we did the Count the Cost series. So you go back and look at that, right? I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. All right? So, I'm about to say something. Not walking in the Spirit refers to living in a way that is led by one's sinful nature or the desires of the flesh, rather than being guided by the set-apart Spirit. Here's some takeaways from that. Key consequences of not walking in the Spirit. Spiritual bondage. A life apart from the Spirit often results in being bound by the sinful habits or destructive attitudes. Yes, your attitude plays a big part in how you reflect yourself and whether you are in the characteristics of the Father or not. Lack of joy and peace. Since the fruit of the Spirit includes peace and joy, living outside of this guidance often leads to emotional turmoil, dissatisfaction, and inner conflict. Why? Because you're doing things your way, and your way don't seem to be working right now. But you keep trying to fight it and keep trying to do it your way until it does work. And at that point, you're just fighting a losing battle. Yeah. Relational damage, selfishness, pride, jealousy, and anger often harm relationships with others, leading to conflict and division. This can also open the door spiritually to things that mean to do you harm. Remember what I said, this adversary is counting on you to show him your weakness. And that's basically you just open up that door, taking it off the hinges, and telling him, come on in. All right. Ezekiel 20:18-21. And I said to their children in the wilderness, do not walk in the statutes of your fathers, nor keep their rules, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Walk in my statutes and be careful to obey my rules. Now, these are meant to lead to life, not death. And keep my Sabbath set apart, that they may be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. But the children rebelled. There goes that rebellion. We all know it. The rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. But the children rebelled against me. They did not walk in my statutes and were not careful to obey my rules, by which if a person does them, he shall live. Yeah. Life or death, right? They profane my Sabbaths. Then I said, I will pour out my wrath upon them and spend my anger against them in the wilderness. It's not like something we talked about last week. This is a repeated pattern of disobedience and rebellion against the Father and his ways. Like we talked about last week, the Father punished the people in the wilderness because they turned away from him and his deliverance. It's the same pattern today. People still reject the Father even after he's brought them from darkness to light. Instead, they keep wanting the things of the world and their old lives. So all of this shows the consequences of leaving the Father's path and his patience, because he does have patience with y'all, and it keeps wearing thin as he keeps calling us back to him. But eventually, you have to make a choice: follow the Father or follow the world. Go ahead.
It'll be brief because I'll wait till the end to finish it out.
Okay.
So for this here, I'm just saying that in the rebellion, because it says that, the Father will punish us in our rebellion. Sometimes we don't know we're rebelling per se, meaning sometimes we're doing things and it has to be brought to our attention. And when it's brought to our attention, depending on your attitude, will determine, the result. But what I'm getting at is, suppose you think you're doing right, but it's actually something that's rebellious to the Father. But then what winds up happening is you're trying to figure out why you're going through something. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to show you through someone that you may not like, or you don't like how this person is saying it to you, or whatever it is. But then when you get attacked, then you're trying to figure out what's going on, but he's already tried to help you. So I'll stop there because I said I wanted to end it with when you get finished what this leads to.
Well, it's going to lead to your heart. So if you want to finish it now, you might want to go ahead.
So because staying on the topic here, mm-hmm. when we're talking about this, about the Ruach, I know a lot of us want to learn how to combat the Ruach. They want to learn about spiritual warfare, is what we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. So spiritual warfare means that everything that you saw thus far, you have to be in alignment with that first. Because if you're not, you're going to lose the battle. So therefore, when we finally get into spiritual warfare, we start talking about certain spirits, which we were talking earlier, so I'll give you just a really brief synopsis of that. Basically, sometimes we are dealing with spirits and we call the spirit by a name that it's not even called by. right? So we say, oh, this is the spirit of something, such and such, right? But you notice in scripture, they ask what that spirit's name is. They don't assume, they don't make it up. They ask, and then they cast that thing out. So if you you're bothered, I got the spirit of botheredness. I'm like, what?
I'm in pain. It's spirit of pain.
Right? And then I want to cast the spirit of botheredness. He's like, I'm not the spirit of botheredness.
You
But
call
you see
me
what I
anything
mean?
you
Like,
want
so
to.
you can't create names for spirits and then try to use that to cast them out. But long story short, I'm just saying is that these things here, you got to first make sure you're in alignment with everything that's been going over or displayed today. So this will set you up to learn how to deal with powers and principalities and how to operate in spiritual warfare. This will lead to the resolve for that.
All right. And if it doesn't, that means that you have a heart problem. Okay, the 8:38:24. It ain't lave, it's what?
Levav.
This is as a noun, okay? We won't get to the other part, but as a noun, it is representing the heart, the mind, the self is the inner person, okay? It refers to the central organ of the body and to the inner person generally as the seat of emotions, desires, or the will. This is what you govern by, okay? But then we have the 38:20, which is
Live.
okay. This is giving it all the rest of the stuff. It's very widely for the feelings, the will, and even the intellect. Likewise for the center of everything. All right. And in a negative context, it means that your heart is broken. It means that it's hard, it's stiff-necked, double-minded. Okay. But in a positive way, it's supposed to be merry. It's supposed to have understanding. It's supposed to be well. It's supposed to be willingly. And it's supposed to have wisdom. Okay? And in the Greek, you got the G2080. You had this before. It's eso.
Eso.
All right. And this is saying the same thing. It's just what's inside you, right? It's the inward part. Deuteronomy 65. Remember this. You shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might, right? So the heart is seen as the center of who we are. It includes our emotions, thoughts, and intentions. When the Bible says to love, serve, or follow the Father with all your heart, it means to be completely committed and sincere. This is about your true self and character that we've been talking and should reflect the Father and the Word, right? For example, that's like we read, it says, love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. This command means to love Elohim with deep, true, and undivided devotion, holding nothing back. So there goes that willingness again to do what is right according to the Word, right? Go ahead.
You know, it's amazing if when he goes over his spiritual warfare in the future, and we come back to all the things, he has already given us everything we need.
Everything.
To fight. So he has given us his Ruach to help your Ruach. He's given us a lave or heart and our mind, and all of those things is just to strengthen your nefesh, your soul, so that your soul can't be easily corrupted.
So what's this battle y'all talking about y'all can't win? The heart is deceitful and wicked. Apostasy. It's the abandonment or renunciation of a religious or political belief. All of these, at some point, is going to rear its ugly head. You have abandonment of belief, recantation, treachery, faithlessness, disloyalty. Some people are going to betray, all right? Defection, desertion, and heresy. Yeah, all of that is in there. It can lead to one thing to another. All right. And here's your unbelief. It's the lack of faith and trust in Elohim that challenges his truthfulness and finds expression in disobedience and rebellion. There goes that rebellion again. This failure to trust Elohim holds back his blessings and leads to condemnation and spiritual death. All right. You know what condemnation is, right? What you mean you don't know, Rabbi? Strong disapproval. Okay, it's a basic term. Strong disapproval. Hebrews 5:11-14. Okay, about this we have much to say, and it's hard to explain since you have become dull of hearing, is slow to understand. For though by this time you ought to be teachers, now ask the question: how far along are you in this truth journey? You ask yourself these questions too. Have you learned anything new, or have you stalled? Okay. You need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of Elohim. You need some milk or basic teachings, not solid food, which is deeper spiritual truths. For everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, since he is a child. But solid food is for the mature, for those who have the powers of discernment. And in this context, it is perception, what we talked about earlier, right? It's the mental ability to understand and discriminate between relations, especially as acquired through experience. Trained by constant practice to distinguish from good from evil. That kind of sums it all up right there. Mature believers who are ready for solid food have trained themselves to know the difference between good and evil through constant practice. This highlights the importance of growing in your faith. As believers, we need to move beyond basic teachings and work toward a deeper understanding by learning and applying the Father's truth regularly. You can't afford to slow down and stop this growth. You're already going to lose the battle if you do that. All right, before I go over, you got anything else? You good? Okay, you good? All right, but one last thing, all right? Hebrews 3:12-19. Take care, brothers, lest there be any of you in evil, unbelieving heart, leading you to fall away from the living Elohim. But exhort one another every day, as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. Yeah, right. For we have come to share in Mashiach, if indeed we hold our original confidence firm to the end. As it is said, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in rebellion, for it's the sin of witchcraft. Okay? For who were those who heard and yet rebelled? Was it not all these who left Egypt led by Moses, which we read last week? And with whom was he provoked for 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear that they would not enter his rest, but to those who were disobedient? See that they were so we see that they were unable to enter because of unbelief. I say, don't place yourself in their shoes, all right? Come out of what you're doing and find a way to live. And again, you might want to put this in your notes. This categorizes unbelief. It's the lack of faith and trust in Elohim that challenges his truthfulness and finds expression in disobedience and rebellion. And just like Mori Lamar said, even if you don't think you're doing it, going against one thing can put you in that category. Automatically. This failure to trust Elohim holds back his blessings and leads to condemnation and spiritual death. All right? Now, that's the wind you're talking about. Yeah. Gonna take a break from this now. Let that marinate a little bit because it got quiet. It got real quiet. But when we come back in December, then we're going to switch over and start talking about the evil stuff, okay? But I suggest you go back and go over these lessons a couple of times before you do that, okay? Because I'm just letting you know right now, ghosts and things of that nature are not what you think they are, okay? You got two categories of spirits. You got your good and you got your bad. And then you got your subcategories, okay? You got your righteous and your unrighteous. Everything's gonna fall under that. We ain't talking about no poltergeists, okay? Anything like that. No Carol Ann. Go ahead, you got something to say?
I'll say if you guys have some questions that you would like to talk about when dealing with spiritual warfare, you guys can email us. And when you email us, we can go over some of those things and maybe apply some scripture with it to kind of help with certain things. But the lesson is really designed for us to strengthen our Ruach and Yah's spirit within us so that we can better be prepared for when we have to go into warfare. And then we'll revisit that I'll give it 2 weeks. After that, email, I'm saying you can send it to us at the email.
You got 2 weeks to put in your questions.
Yeah. And then we'll see if we can address it in there just to kind of help out.
Remember what I said the second lesson. Remember, we first have to identify the issues in you before you can start identifying these evil spirits, or else none of it's going to work. Because if you ain't got the armor on, I'm pretty sure they do. You got a comment? Comments, questions, or concerns? Hold on. Mike, go ahead. Benedetto.
Shalom, sorry, it's Kenisha. I have a question. So I was reading the book of Tobit yesterday, and I read something and it kind of stuck out, and I'm wondering if this same spirit can be operating now. So it's one called it Asmodeus or something like that, and it kept Sarah from marrying each husband. Like she kept being betrothed, and the spirit was so in love with her that it kept her from being married. And it made me gasp because I don't know why it hit me. Like, can this thing still be operating in the lives of women to where it's affecting, like, and keeping women from coming into like getting their issues? I don't know if you're familiar with that literature.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the story. But also what was happening in their days, what constituted that. So, but if you're asking today for the righteous, no. A lot of times what we're dealing with now are just past issues and generational things and traumas that we've been through, and that's what's preventing us now. But back then they had a lot more other things that surrounded specifically her. But I'm just saying is that particular ruach was for a purpose at that time.
Okay, Torah.
Gasha.
Yeah, Maury. So you're saying like this, the spirit of, let's say, fornication is that it has a different name, or is it called the spirit of fornication or the spirit of lust, or are there certain specific names for each spirit?
Okay, so for an example, we'll use what you're using, the spirit of lust and fornication.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that definition is fine, but if I call it the spirit of urge,
Okay.
that's not true. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a part of you that you're in it, and not the spirit. The spirit is just highlighting what's already in you.
Right.
So if you're thinking something is happening, we may name it that. And I'm saying, let's just keep it the way that the names that they are called. And usually when they do things like, as you saw in Brit Kadeshah, where they were calling the name of that particular spirit and then casting that spirit out. They didn't create no names or anything like that. So that's what I'm saying is we got to be careful not to be naming things because of the situation we're in. So we'll name it according to our situation versus getting to the heart of what that spirit really is.
Right. Okay. So what would the spirit of fornication be called then?
Well, the spirit of fornication. So all you got to do is look up the word fornication, which is zana, is one of them. So it's just with the name of it. That's it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Another example would be the spirit of cussing.
Or lust. Let's say lust.
That's something that you do. That's in you. You cuss a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Ain't no spirit. That's you.
Okay. I got it. So it's the Hebrew. Cool. Okay.
But remember what I said. That's why I changed that last question from, how can an evil ruach be in you to how can an evil ruach corrupt you? And it's like I said, it's going by your weakness, something that it can tap into you about.
Right. Right. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Benedetto.
Shalom, Kanisha again. Yes, so then when um when those prophets, 400 prophets were before, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the name. I'm really bad with the names. But it was revealed to him that, or Mikael, or his name of the prophet that was in jail, it was revealed to him that a spirit came forward and said he would be a lying spirit in the mouth of the prophets. So that was already in the prophets, or that lying spirit that came forward when the father asked who would go forth. I think it was Abinadab.
Yeah, you already answered.
Ahab.
Yeah, you already answered your question, but we're going to read that again. That's
Oh,
1 Kings.
okay.
That he was already lying. All they did was pull that out of him because they had to prove a point that he was lying, that he can't get something over on the father. So the father said, "Well, go ahead and do it." So it's not.
Okay.
It's a characteristic of you that the spirit is latching on to.
Even though I kind of had
That's scary.
I had a joke with it, but I try to keep my composure. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometime when we say, like we talk about you're a liar, right? So there's a difference between someone would say, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about that thing in you. You know what I mean? So, but sometimes when you talk about that thing in you, it may just be you.
It's still you.
Versus the spirit he's already a liar.
Right.
I'm just trying to help him be a good liar.
Remember, it's your heart. Remember, that's the seat of your emotions. It's the inner you. And we always talk about the inner you versus the outer you. The inner you is always going to show the true you, and if you a liar, that's what it's going to show. All right. One more. Y'all shout out. Oh, into you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one more question. When they're saying like when we're supposed to, write the law, statutes, and commandments on our heart, right? When we're supposed to write on our heart, what does that actually mean when you're writing it on your heart? Does that mean memorization of it? Can you just explain that a little bit?
Right, writing it on your heart is the same thing as putting it as you reading it. So the word writing,
Right.
if you look at that word, they got two words for that, but it literally means it's like carving it in your heart. It's literally you're allowing, because your heart's not the thing that's beating in your chest per se. It's
right.
your mind.
It's your mind.
So you're putting the Father's word. You're writing it in your mind, in your heart. You're able to walk through what you're in your mind. So if I say write it on a doorpost, I'll just keep it simple the way you said it. So I'll just say this way: I should be able to, if I carved it in my heart and I'm going through something, because it's already on my heart, I'm going to utilize that thing to help me.
Okay, so when you're saying that, so that's almost at the point where it's memorized in you, so you're able to bring it up in that situation, right?
Right, but it comes in two parts. Just memorizing it's not good
Gotta
enough.
apply it.
Oh, okay. So there's the memorization and the application, the action of it.
Right. It has to have some type of fruit to go with it.
Okay, got
have
you.
some type of faith in it, some type of belief in it. Just
Okay.
knowing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much for that. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so about 2020, 2021, 2022, I unknowingly engaged in spiritual warfare. Now, let me tell you how unknowingly. You all came to my house to pray because I had an issue in my house, like things were happening. And it went on for a while. And I decided, because I was just all in my head again. So I decided that I'm just going to focus on the Father, because my desire, I just want the Father. That's all I want. And I just stopped paying attention to what was happening inside the house. And for about 4 months, from can see to can't see, I just studied. I prayed. I stayed prostrated. I stayed before the Father's presence. And what happened was, one day I came out of the bathroom and I just heard, the spirit that was in your house is left. And I was like, oh. So I just walked around and I could tell the house was different. So I talked to Maury and I told him what happened. And he said, where the Father's presence is, that spirit can't be.
Yes. We had staged y'all through that. Not a man.
Shalom, Ari. I just wanted to say this right here. Like for example, like whenever I'm going through something, regardless of what it is, I have Bible verses that I've memorized that help me get through it. You know, like for example, I can do all things through Hamashiach Yahusha that strengthens me. So I know that in my heart, but that gives me strength to walk out or to handle whatever issue I may having. So I'm just going back with what the Aki said before, as writing it on our hearts. There's different things, different verses in the Bible that we can write on our hearts, like these law, statutes, and commandments that help us get through various things in our life.
Hallelujah. All right. Anyone else? Go ahead. Oh no, it's over. It's a done. It's a done. Go ahead.
In Genesis, when the Father breathed in Adam and man became a living soul, right? And we learned that the spirit and man's soul is separate, right? I was reading in two passages. Yeah, I read. In Genesis 41:8, right? It says, and it came to pass in the morning that Pharaoh's spirit was troubled, right? And then in Genesis 45:27, you know, after, you know, the brothers found out that Joseph was alive and he went back and told his father, it said his spirit revived. So how did that word get kind of compounded over the years? You see what I'm saying? Like man, soul, and spirit, because we see the two references to where it's mentioned in spirit, but in Genesis it says, you know, Father breathed in the man and he became a living soul.
Right, that was that neshama there, in that context.
Yeah, so and the one that you're talking about, but in Genesis, the early one, that's neshama, right? So that's something a little bit different.
It's different.
So then the one he's talking about, the ruach is in different levels. That's what I'm saying. Just the word spirit is not going to really cut it. That's why I like to say it's not going to really do justice to that word, because when it's in a certain noun form, when it's in an adjective, when it's in a verb, when it's in a certain state, then it operates in that particular state. Just like a ruach can be considered masculine and feminine. But you see what I mean? Like there's a reason for that.
And if you realize, remember he kept hardening Pharaoh's heart. So he kept drawing on what was in his heart. All right, one more, then we gotta go. Go ahead, y'all trying to.
Yeah, Maury, so you're talking about when that spirit's in the Hifat version, then it's causative, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah, what's in the Paul, it's a different version. The spirit's in a different version, which is amazingly interesting. That's amazing. Okay, great. Hold on.
All right. If our hearts and minds are clear, we can stand and close.
Baruch Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam. Father, we thank you and give you all esteem, honor, and praise. We ask, Father, that you bless us and keep us throughout the rest of the day, that we may fellowship with each other. We thank you for the meal that we are about to receive. We also ask, Father, that the word that went out, Father, will hit its target, and everyone will be meditating on that word for the rest of the week and walking in it as you will have them to walk in it. We thank you, Father, for your loving commitment toward each and every last one of us, and we give you all esteem, honor, and praise. We also ask for traveling favor and traveling mercy for those who are traveling on the highways as they leave the assembly and go home. We ask that their Malachims be all around them and that their homes will be the same as they left it. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Amen.